Hey guys, Ed here, and you're watching Blood, Fire and the Pillars of Smoke channel. We're cooking ribs today. Now, ribs are one of the two holy grails of classic barbecue along with the brisket. It's a really simple thing to do if you know a few basic principles, and that's exactly what I'm about to show you in this video. Alright, so let's get cracking. I have here 3 nice slabs of ribs, and we're gonna be doing first the preparation. You see here, there is this membrane that we will need to remove. Now, it's really easy, so let's get to this, okay? Here I have this slab of ribs, okay? And I have a butter knife, right? Now watch this. First thing you do, you slide the butter knife a little bit under the membrane. You see this? Now, once you do that, you just pull it up a little bit and the membrane comes apart, right? So I've done it on 2 ribs, and now your best helper is a paper towel, because that membrane is quite slippery. So you just grab that membrane with a paper towel and start pulling it away like this. Look at this. Sometimes it doesn't go good, but then again, a couple of tries and you're where you want to be, right? Just like that. And very soon you have it all off. All right, if it ripped, no worries. You could always pick it up and rip it again, okay? The membrane is basically preventing from the smoke to get to the meat. Smoke and spices as well. Speaking of spices, we're gonna be using today a very interesting combination, okay? So I'll throw this aside. What we have here, this is a very interesting rub from Heavenly Hell. It's called Championship Cherry, okay? Very interesting, sweet, and a bit of spicy combination of tastes. So that's for first. Second, for a bit more kick of a hit, I'll use this interesting mix, okay? It's called Pinch That Tail, Suck That Head, right? This is a Cajun spice mix, also from Heavenly Hell. Very aromatic, and a bit of spice and a bit of heat. Eventually, ribs need to be glazed, right? So, our glaze. This is something I have never tried before, but I really like the way it sounds. Cowboy Candy, also from Heavenly Hell, okay? Now, this says cherry chipotle barbecue sauce. When I hear cherry and I hear chipotle, that's a thumbs up for me, right? So I love it. Before we go, I've noticed that there is this rogue rib here. I don't really like these small ribs because they tend to dry out. So, very simply, believe me, there's enough ribs in here. This, trash. Okay? Right. So, we're almost ready for spicing up, okay? We start with the Championship Cherry. Give it a bit of a shake, because sometimes the spices, you know, they go a little bit crumbly inside, but we start simply like this, okay? Generously, okay? And once you're done, the first thing to do is to pat the spices with your hand like this, so they don't run away and stick to the meat. You may want to use some sort of a binder like a Worcestershire sauce, but the ribs are good without it, so. All right, now the Cajun. Now this one, I go not too sparingly, because this is quite a hot stuff, right? So I don't want those things to burn. Okay. This side's done, flip, and the other side. toughest part over. Now, what we will do is to go to the smoker, okay? I'll show you exactly what I'm doing and what the process is. One thing to note is before we actually go to the smoker, usually the ribs are smoked traditionally on 105°C, right? Or which is about 225 Fahrenheit. What I found out is that for spare ribs of this thickness, it's not really needed, to be honest. We can go as high as 135 Celsius and it's going to be exactly the same effect, just in a shorter period of time. All right, guys. Grill's on. Ribs are ready. Once it hits the right temperature, which is 135 Celsius, we'll put the ribs in and we'll smoke them for about 1 to 1.5 hours. And the best way to check whether they are ready to be wrapped is when I scratch my finger on the spices, they should feel dry. That's exactly how you know that it's time to wrap the ribs. Let's get to this. Okay. Grill is at the right temperature. Now I have here those Teflon meshes, which are very good for making the products to not stick. So here we go. 1, 2, and eventually 3. Okay, I've made sure there is a gap in between the ribs so they get heated nicely and evenly. I'll check them in about 1 hour to see how we're doing and whether it's time to wrap them or not. About 1 hour passed by, so we open to have a look what's going down there, and you can see that the ribs are very good. They are just where I wanted them to be. Let me take one out so I can show you. Here it is. See, I can scratch with my finger and that's all fine. So I'm putting this here on these paper sheets. I'll just close the lid meanwhile. Okay. Now what I'm doing is, first sheet, I'm creating some sort of like a boat here. And the reason is, what I will be putting in is I have this is orange and mango juice. So I'll put this in just around the ribs to wet them a little bit, like this. I'm not afraid to wash off the spices because I'm just putting some more, right? So a little bit of more spices. All right? Like this. And here's the first wrap. Okay? I'm wrapping it good. This is the first layer. And here's another sheet of foil, which will give it a second layer. Okay, I'm sort of creating a steam packet. This is called Texas Crunch. Okay, one's ready. I'm taking it straight back onto the grill. All right, here it goes. Boom. And same process I'm doing with the other 2 slabs. Here we are done with the last one. All right, I'm returning it back into the smoker for another hour or so. Okay, and here I have some remaining orange juice, so cheers. Another hour has gone by and we're ready to start glazing the ribs. Okay, glazing basically is basting them with barbecue sauce or any glaze of your choice, right? As I told you guys, we're gonna be using this Cowboy Candy from Heavenly Hell. First time I'm using it, Cherry and chipotle should be cool, so let's begin. I've put some of the sauce in here. I'm starting with the bottom side. Right? Flipping it. And glazing the top side. Okay. Now it's ready to go back in. Just like that. And we continue with the next one. That's it. We finish glazing the last one, and it's going back into the smoker for another maybe 20 to 25 minutes. All we want really is to have the sugar in the glaze to caramelize. Okay, that's the only thing we're actually after. So I'm just putting this in like this. That's it. Another 20 to 25 minutes and we're ready to take them off. Another 20 minutes gone by. These are the ribs. Look at the shine. I love them like this with the glaze. Basically, ideally, we need to let them rest for about 10-15 minutes. I can't wait. I really want to try this one, all right? So let's start. We'll start like this. Okay, now, just have a look. This is it, guys. I mean, all that's left for me is to have a taste, right? So here I go. Just as I like those. Very tender, very tasty, not falling off the bone, having a little bite to it. Just have a look. All right, recipe as usual under the description, in the description of the video. And yeah, well, if you like what I'm doing, you know, hit subscribe, give us a thumbs up, hit that bell button, and there is more to come. See you next time.